Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Bacon Decker Podcast. Tyler, what you got going on this past week?
This week has been work, and more work. Our days, I've been on the truck this week, so it's been a lot of early mornings, but then also late days, because it just trucks depend on how long the routes take. The trucks take longer than if I'm merchandising, which is where I go to like Kroger, Walmart, those stores like that. Usually are more on a set schedule, whereas trucks really are at the mercy of the store. So if the store takes a little bit longer to check in, like Dollar Generals, your gas stations, anything like that, your convenience stores, that's where we'll be. And you have to unload the semi and drive it in and then check it off at the store and then put it out. So it just takes a little bit longer for the process. But work's been the main thing again this week. It seems like every week it's always just work. It's just like, oh, what did you do this week? I've worked. Like there's never a oh, I was on vacation this week. I didn't do anything work related. It's never the week for me. So you had a lot going on this week at work.
Yeah. So this week I had the driving school for UPS. So that was pretty interesting. We had to do it virtually, which is out of the norm, right? Because normally you would go to a location where they actually held the school, and you go through all 5 days of just rigorous classroom instruction and physical demonstration, things like that. But because of the virus, we have to change and go do virtually. So I sat at home in my UPS uniform and participated in class all day long. Definitely really boring. And unfortunately that's just the way it has to be right now. But it's nice because all right, I get to be at home. I don't have to go anywhere and worry about all that.
You had that work from home vibe.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, wow, I'm sitting at home. I'm just listening to these people talk on this computer, and I'm just like, this is so boring.
You're more of a hands-on person.
Yeah,
like I am.
I like to work hands-on. I learn hands-on. So, but I passed. I had my hands-on training on Thursday, so they took me out, had me drive around for a little bit, had me practice delivering, and then this past Friday I got to actually ride on the truck and see kind of like how it actually goes from the beginning of my day to the end of my day. I got to see, because I was riding on the route that I'll qualify as a driver on, so I have 30 days to qualify as a driver. So they'll give 3 days where a supervisor will ride with me, and then I'll get sent out on my own, and a supervisor will come back in and check on me and ride with me a day or two, and then
just
they'll
make
keep
sure
going
you
like
stay
that
afloat.
over 30 days.
More or less.
Yeah, and they're basically watching, so they're going to start me out with a lighter load, and then as I get progressively longer into my qualifying period, they're going to add more packages on, but my time should still be meeting the standard. So for example, like they know I'm going to take a long time my first few days just because I'm learning how to do everything, and I got to learn the route and all that. But as I get used to that route and I've learned how to run it the right way and all that, and I get more used to working like the dyad, the thing they use to scan the packages and all that, my time should be meeting the standard. So what they call it scratch. So I have to meet a certain time. It should take me this long to deliver these packages, and if I don't meet that time, that's a problem. And then they'll be like, hey, this is what's holding you up, because they can track where I'm at.
Right. That's kind of how on the trucks is the same way. So we've got to, once you learn your routes and where the trucks are going, if the truck driver's driven the route before, he knows who's the manager, who's going to check in, who looks for certain things, where to back in at, and like how to get into each store, the most convenient, easiest way for the store and us. So, some weeks or some days I'm thrown with a driver that is on his normal route and he just needs help because it's a heavy load for that day. Or it'll be because I'm helping a new driver on a route that is just covering for a guy's vacation. Yeah. And that's what this week was really covering vacation time. So there was not any like everybody knows where they're going kind of thing. It was like everybody was like, this is a new day for me too. So even the driver that's experienced in doing the job didn't really know the stores well. So it was just long days and a lot of like, we had to figure out a couple of the stores. You have to figure out how you're going to get a 40-foot semi parked.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them are just little small gas stations. We went to a couple places locally that are not towards Franklin and then towards Auburn. They're just like hole in the wall places. They're like a diner almost. So it's pretty cool because we got lunch there at both of those places. Really good food and have that southern hospitality kind of thing.
Yeah,
so it's pretty cool to go to those places. But some places don't have a loading dock or anything, so you have to unload it from the semi, and then you have to dolly it in because there's no way to get your. They call it a sled. It's just like it picks up the pallets, like the little half pallets, little skids.
Oh, okay.
So they're not full wooden pallets. They're like
I was about to say, they don't have like a pallet jack?
No, we got the pallet jack, but the skids are half the size of a pallet.
You're right.
So they call it a sled, but the sled has to go up flat surfaces, otherwise it won't roll. Mm-hmm. So some of them you have to dolly in and then check in on the floor. So, but it wasn't too bad. It's just, it's a lot of managing your time, figuring out where you're going to go first, how you're going to get to each one. Some places you'll pass up a store if like Coca-Cola's there or Dr. Pepper in some places or any other vendors like Frito-Lay or anything is parked where we would normally go. We would skip that one, go to the next stop, and then come back to see if they had like cleared up some area. Because, you just can't put a semi somewhere that won't fit.
Yeah.
And then
you can't waste time waiting.
Right. Yeah, you want to go ahead and try to knock out another one while there's 3 vendors at one. You just go to the one there's nobody at. So, yeah, it's a lot of touch and go, and just you kind of wing it as well. Like you hope for the best, and sometimes you just get stuck. So Friday, while you were driving, we got stuck behind Coca-Cola twice at 2 stores. They just happened to be our 2 biggest drops too. So they had to check in Coke. It just takes a long time. And then Coke had to, get theirs in there and enough room for us to get ours in there. So we were kind of like playing catch up behind them for 2 of our big stores.
Yeah.
But
what I was telling some of the guys that I work with was like, every time I learn something new about like the job, whether it's the preload or the driving, it's like I'm peeling back an onion. So every time I get further into the process, so like, when I had to do my road test, it was like, okay, well, now I learned to have to know all this stuff. All right, and then I went to driving school, and then they taught me all this stuff, and it's like, oh, there's even more stuff than I thought. And then when I went riding along, it was like, I'm just peeling back the onion, and there's more layers and more layers, and I'm like, there's so much to this job, because from the outside looking in, you're like,
they just deliver
this
packages.
guy's just, he's driving his package car, and then he scans the package, he gives it to you, if he needs a signature, he'll get a signature or whatever. But there's so much to it, like, when I tell you these guys move, I tell you these guys move.
Yeah, we see them in a lot of the stops, and they're in and out. There's no waiting and no like chit-chatting. They're like scan, drop it, thanks, name, gone. And there's
and it's incredible. You see these guys who, especially have been doing it for a while, they're just, but it seems like they're still so polite,
Yeah. They know which ones they need to go to.
All right. Hey, have a good one. It just blows my mind. I was watching the driver that I was riding along with, and I can walk fast, okay? I was in the military. I know how to move, and like this guy is still like zooming past me, and I'm like, how's he doing that?
I'm gonna have to run.
Yeah. So, it's just incredible. The more I learn, they really do. They're on such a time schedule. The supervisors, when they're training me, they're like, from the time your hand hits that handrail and you're getting into the truck to the time you're taking off from the curb should be 10 seconds. And I'm just like, jeez, what if there's traffic?
Yeah.
So it's way more complicated, and I just have more respect for them every day,
Oh, that's my perspective on semi-drivers now has completely changed. Seeing how they have to back into certain places, how they have to drive in certain places, where they can't go, where they can't fit. And then like seeing the people that are just in such a rush to get past them. So to back into somewhere, they have to go into oncoming traffic and then back, like jackknife it back into the parking lot off the road. Well, I'll turn my flashers on and I'll be on his side of traffic. But that other side, as soon as he like clears up and he's kind of lined up, he has to drive forward to make sure it's lined up 100%. Well, that time that he's out of their lane, they just go. Yeah, it's like, can you not just wait till he's like cleared the road?
Yeah.
So it's things like that I see that I'm just like, man, where do you have to go that fast? Like, unless it's a UPS driver, I don't see the reason. I don't see the reason you got to rush that fast.
Dude, I'm saying, and that's what my driver was telling me. He's like, hey man, these people, they're going to be mean to you, they're going to be rude, they're going to act like you're just in their way and all this and that. He's like, you just got to ignore them, all right? Yep. You're here to do your job, all right? He's like, just do your job, okay? So, like, we're driving down the small house, right? Mm-hmm. All right, we're not supposed to pull into people's driveway unless we absolutely have to, because we're not supposed to back unless we absolutely have to.
Right.
You know? It's just a hazard, you know. We're so big, you know, we can hit anything, you know? Yeah. So it's like...
Just takes one mistake, you know?
Yeah, and that's a big deal in our line of work. So, you know, we only pull into people's driveway if, one, we see a turnaround point that we can turn around at, or we can safely back, right? Mm-hmm. Or we got to pull, like, in front of their driveway if we don't see anything in there, or we got to pull, like, right past it and off to the side. Well, Small House Road, right? Very busy.
Yeah.
Right? But there's not a shoulder to the road. Mm-hmm. So, like, what he would do is he would pull the truck over into, like, the beginning of a driveway, but he wouldn't pull into it, you know?
Right.
So, and, I mean, his truck's still, like, over halfway in the lane because, you know, it's just what we got to do. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's like these people are, like, you know, trying to race around them and this and that, and, you know, they don't care about you, you know?
No,
they don't understand you know, this is what you got to do. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it's just crazy.
And I think you realize, you see how many people are not essential workers in a sense, or the word of just like they are in such a rush to these jobs that can wait 5 minutes, to where you have these people that are every day filling grocery stores or running packages to people that have ordered them. They're probably useless packages too, you know. They're just like, they don't have to get there at a certain time, but y'all take it serious to get them there on time.
We have other packages we have to get to, right? Because there's like, all right, so some people order medicine, right?
Yeah.
And people need that medicine.
Yeah.
We got to take that to them. And it's like, all right, so people also pay for a certain service. It's our next day air service. Mm-hmm. And that's a $45 no crap. Like, that's what they paid just for shipping to get it there the next day.
I've paid for something next day shipping, and it got here the next day. I was like, how in the world did that come from there?
I mean, let me tell you, UPS moves. And that's why we charge so much, because the service is expedient and efficient, and it's there for you.
Because I got the email that morning before I left for work that it had shipped, and that it's on its way. And by the time I got back home, which was midday that day, it was on the doorstep. Yeah. I was like,
next day
4 hours.
Next day airs, 10:30 commit time. So no matter what, that driver, whatever he's doing, wherever he's at, if he does not get it there by 10:30, oh buddy, is he in trouble? Yeah. You know. So it's like, you know, we can see it on our little diet that it's like, all right, we got this many airs that we got to get delivered by 10:30. So you know, if we're in the area and we have time to deliver other packages, we can, but we got to get those next day airs off before 10:30. Because they pay for that service.
Yeah, I mean, if you pay for it the next day and it's something that you really need the next day, and then you get it 3 days later, you're like, one, you wasted the money, and like, I could have waited 3 days and paid less, or they're, you know, without the product that they need.
Well, and UPS will 100% reimburse you if it does not get there. Like, that's no joke, and that's what the supervisors will tell us. If you don't get it, you know, if you don't deliver that package to them before that 10:30 commit time, then, buddy... UPS loses money, and that means that you're in, you know, like, it's no joke. Like, and UPS, because of our customer service, you know, we do take care of the customer. So if we say we're going to do something, it doesn't happen, you know.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, they told us in class, you tear somebody's driveway up, right? You know, or they consider a crash, even if you, like, if you had to turn around because you went down a long driveway or something and there was no turnaround point, you turn around their yard and mess up their yard. UPS will come out, have somebody come and fix that. Like, that's how, like, great customer service.
I don't know who it was. I mean, you remember I told you about somebody backing into the drive or the yard back here. I mean, ruts all through the yard. Like, somebody got stuck in our driveway down there at the bottom, which, if you're not familiar with it, you would get stuck on a rainy day. You're going to get stuck back there. Yeah, so they put wood down from, like, the burn pile down there, like, where we burnt a bunch of, like, junk that, like, we're remodeling the house. So if it's wood or something, we burn it in the burn pile out back, just to, you know, instead of having
to get the trash and stuff.
Yeah, but they grabbed a couple of chunks of wood to try to, like, get some traction for their wheel to get out. Well, I mean, they got out, but they didn't leave a note or anything. So I don't know if it was just a pedestrian or, like, it was a service. If it was a UPS or FedEx or, you know, there was
I can tell you right now, UPS, or at least our drivers, they ain't pulling into this drive.
Well, that's my thing is, so the normal guy, he'll pull up a couple of houses up and he'll run, like, all packages in this, like the 4 or 5 houses through here, because it is a dangerous, like, driveway. There's like a blind hill in front of my house that if you're not familiar with the road and you're trying to back out into this road, it's not a good idea. You're going to get hit.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because everybody that comes to the house, I'm like, don't back out. Like, go through the grass. Please go. Like, just pull in the grass and then back out. They're like, well, we're not supposed to do that. You're not going to want to back out on this road. Like, I'm giving you permission to pull into the grass and turn around because I don't want to see you get T-boned. That's you, like, we're getting out of the driveway. So, I mean, it's like I'm not doing it just out of generous. I don't want you to get hurt because it is. I mean, people fly up through here 65, 70, and 55, and they pop that hill, and then it's like they don't realize there's houses down through the side that live there.
Even though they probably drive through here every single day.
Yeah, it's probably their work routine, you know? Yeah, I can't tell you how many times a horner honk at me or something as I'm pulling out. I'm like, dude,
I live here. What do you want me to do? You know? No, because you remember when I first got my Hyundai, you know, and I was trying to pull out of the road there.
Yep.
Well, you know, I was pulling out one day, and I mean, this other car came flying up over that hill just as I was, you know, straightened out onto the road.
There's been plenty of times as soon as I pop the hill and I look left, I'm like, all right, it's clear. And I'm pulling straight onto the road. They're right behind me.
Yeah.
They're right behind me. I'm like, how in the world? There's no way you're going 55. So, but yeah, it's just, it's a terrible driveway, but somebody rutted up the yard terribly. Like, they got out because otherwise it'd still been here. But I got home and I called everybody that normally would have been at my house. I'm like, did you get stuck in the yard? Did you get stuck? And like, I didn't take pictures or anything, but they were dual wheels. So I know they're not, I don't know if UPS has dual wheels in the back.
They do in the back.
Do they? So it was some kind of dually in the back. But UPS doesn't do that.
Yeah, well, I know
my
your
driver
guy
knows
right up here.
Yeah, my driver knows where to
right
go through here. So unless he was on vacation and they sent somebody else out here that wasn't familiar with the area or something like that, it could have been UPS because we really don't get a lot of FedEx and the Postal Service. They pull into our driveway just as if they lived here, kind of thing. They just pull right into one of our spots and then they back out and they leave. So I really don't know. Like, and that's what neither one of us were home. So why in the world would they drive around the house to try to back out compared to just like pulling in the open two spots of gravel, like gravel driveway, and then back in? I don't know.
That's what makes me think it's probably somebody who maybe had the wrong house or something.
Yeah, I think it was a pedestrian or something. I think it was just somebody that got lost.
Somebody in a big truck.
Maybe they thought it was a turnaround back there and it wasn't. But yeah, they rutted all the drive. Like it looked awful for a long time. I was like, man, somebody's in the back of the house. Yeah. So I went down.
Because you showed me it, I remember.
I come downstairs and checked everything, make sure we weren't broke into or something. You know, like somebody just backed up to like load the truck up and then drive out and got stuck. But everything was fine. It's just somebody got stuck. I just wish if it was somebody, like if I was to get stuck like that and tear up somebody's yard like that, I would leave a note or even like some money or something. Like I would feel bad to leave it in that situation and just not have enough care because you don't know if my neighbor's seen you. So then if you leave and then they've got a license plate or they knew who it was, then you're like, well, you just left without even doing anything, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, dude,
I don't know about you. I'm smoked. Like this week, I'm so tired. This is probably the earliest we've done a podcast, I think.
Probably in a long time.
Yeah, like this is like back to our normal routine, but this was unexpectedly going to be a morning podcast, so it turned into like now we're here and we had breakfast and then we're kind of just like catching up to speed.
Because of course, you know, last night, you know, after we both work long days, and of course I've been working. You know, my work schedule before this was 3 to basically 9, right? That would be my time to work, and then I come here on like a Friday or something, and you'd have a Friday off. Yeah. But now, both of us were working yesterday, and we planned on having it Friday night.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a nightly podcast, which I was excited for because I thought it might bring some different like aspects to the table. Like we would feel different, our mentality would be different. Yeah, our mentality was different. We were both exhausted, ready to go to bed. Like it's just. We got on Xbox and played for maybe 30, 45 minutes, not even that. I feel like
30 minutes. Dude.
Yeah, and you're like, well, I'm going to get off. And as soon as you got off, I was like, oh, I'm going upstairs and going to bed, you know? There was no energy I didn't want to put out anything if I didn't feel 100% to film it, you know? I don't want to half-ass it, I guess is the best way to put it.
Well, I don't want it to seem like a chore to us, you know? So it's like, if we just feel better the next day to do it, I would rather do it then.
And we're used to mornings anyway, so that was like, well, we'll just do it. You know, the first thing you asked is, do you have time in the morning? I think we're both morning
people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm up usually by 6 or 7, no matter what, just because that's like my internal alarm clock. It's like, I can see the sun shining,
as soon as
and
the sun
lights coming up,
through,
I'm up. I feel like I'm wasting time. I think that's my thing. Is I feel like I'm wasting time if I don't get up when I see the sun shining.
Well, and that's what's weird is like Krista, right? She'll even when she wakes up, she'll like lay there in bed for 30 minutes, an hour, just on her phone or whatever, and I'm like, yo, it's time to get up.
They say that's terrible. That's a terrible habit to have, especially nowadays with the way the world is. Of if you get up and you look on your phone like first thing and you just kind of lay there, your mentality and your like get up and
your
go.
attitude.
Yeah, it changes drastically. So they say not to, like as soon as your alarm goes off, shut it off, put your phone back down, and get up, take a shower, or get up, make coffee, or get up and just kind of start a routine. I think a routine's great to have in the morning. I think a lot of people are like live on the edge of just like, well, wherever I sleep tonight or wherever I hang out tonight. Me, man, I'm in a routine. Like I've got to have my bed, my nightly routine, and then like I wake up and it's not much of a routine, but you know I follow the same schedule almost every morning. If I don't, I feel like I'm missing something. By the time I get to work, I'm like, some days it just feels different. You know, I don't feel recharged the same way.
Well, yeah, I'm the same way. I have a certain order I like to do things, and you know, just and it's kind of funny, you know.
Which is you because you'll forget.
You watch Rhett and Link, you know, so you know how Link is very particular about everything. Well, I definitely, you know, I took the Enneagram as well, and me and Link are both perfectionists, right, by trade. So like, or by just I guess our personalities. So there's a certain order I do everything in the shower in. There's a certain order I do everything in the morning in. You know, so wash my hair, then condition it, and then you know, wash my body, right?
Yeah.
And then shave my face if you know I need to shave my face.
Right.
And then,
I've always thought you did hair first, though.
Yeah.
Is that just I thought
top down?
Yeah. I mean, if I wash my hair and then my body, if I missed any soap from the hair, it's getting washed off when I wash my body. You know, compared to if I do the body and then the hair, and then I rinse my hair off, and I miss soap somewhere in my body. You know, like I just top to bottom. That's how I've always done it. I don't think there was a time growing up I ever did start with my hair first.
But then after that, it's like, all right, you move from the shower, then you go and you do it like, all right, so I'll put deodorant on, I clean out my ears because I hate having water in my ears, and then I brush my teeth. And then after that, you know, it's like whatever, you know, I might
it's all
eat
bathroom stuff
right?
first.
Yeah,
that's definitely for me too. Bathroom
because I just
first.
feel better, you know, once I'm clean.
I feel refreshed. Yeah, I definitely. If you my day off, I always first thing I do when I get up, take a shower.
Yeah.
Because if I don't take a shower the first thing in the morning, my day's off for sure. Then I just don't. I don't want to do nothing. I feel like I just want to sit around the house or lay around the house or not really, you know, play Xbox or something, and not get down here and film something or work towards something more productive.
Yeah.
But if I get up, get a shower, I just feel revitalized for sure. But as far as after that, I don't eat breakfast. I'm not a breakfast person. I've never been a breakfast person because it usually hurts my stomach. In my line of work, if you're bending over and picking up stuff, as soon as you get to work, pretty much, you get there, you start pulling pallets, and you start working the product. You don't want to bend over 24/7 after just eating like any
meal.
Any kind of meal. I mean, I could probably do cereal or something to be fine. I just don't, just because I'm used to not eating anything.
Well, so what they kind of taught us, and like something I was kind of already doing, but something kind of like reinforced my mentality, right? As well as working the preload, you know, they would tell us, hey, eat a light breakfast, but still eat breakfast. So one, you're getting your metabolism, you're getting that little boost of energy in the morning, right? So, and I carry that into the driving thing now, where every morning I go in there and, you know, starting last week when I was in school, and then Friday when I actually got to go and drive, I just made a bowl of oatmeal, just tiny bowl of oatmeal, you know, from one of those little packets I got with the fruit oatmeal. So I just make one of that, eat that real fast, and I pack my lunch, you know. But it's just like something to put in there because I found that while I was at the preload, it was so early in the morning, my body was like, dude, what are you doing? It would be hungry, you know? And especially when you're moving, you know, you burn so many calories, you know, moving boxes and pallets and all that.
I usually start my first store, and then when I get about either halfway through, if I'm merchandising, halfway through, I'll grab some jerky and then just a water or a Gatorade or something. Yeah, just to hold me over. And that's usually fine. And then I'll eat lunch after, if, you know, at Clark, it was like I had two stores. So in between both stores, I would eat lunch, which it would be very, very light, because if anybody does a physical job, knows you eat a lot, you're useless. As soon as you get done, you're like, I need a nap, I'm ready to go home. There's no I'm going to work another 4 hours. There's none of that. So, I mean, I was always very light lunch. Sometimes I didn't even eat lunch. If I was so busy at both stores, I would just not eat because I just didn't really feel hungry, and I just went through it. And then as soon as I got done working, it's like my body's like, all right, you're done working now. You're starving.
Yeah.
It's like on the way home, my belly's just rumbling, like seeing all these restaurants driving home. And I'm just like, don't stop. Just get home and you can eat dinner and then you'll be fine. So some days I don't eat anything except for like some jerky in the morning and then dinner. I know that's not healthy, but that's just how my body's like used to it now.
Yeah.
I'm not a coffee person. Coffee runs right through me.
Yeah,
like,
it does anybody. It's just like a natural laxative, man. It'll push whatever you got out.
I'm even chilled coffee, so I'll drink like the Starbucks ones now. And so a lot of people think it's the heat from the coffee. Man, I think it's just coffee for me. It just runs right through me. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with the caffeine because when I was in the military, right, every morning, and this is the worst. If you do this, do not stop what you're doing. But I would drink like a Red Bull in the morning and I'd smoke a cigarette. And that was right before I went to work. So I'd be like, all right, I drank my Red Bull and I had a cigarette or two, depending on the week I was having. And then I'd walk into work and about 30 minutes later I'd have to go poop.
Yeah.
So
it just I think everybody's different. Energy drinks for me, some run through me, some don't. So I used to drink the Monster 24/7 back when I worked at Save a Lot, and I got to Clark, which sells Monster. So I was trying some different flavored Monsters, and I tried the Zeros for the first time, and then I got the Reign come out, which is like the competition to Bang. And the Reign's what I switched to. They didn't hurt my stomach as much. So
Monsters, it feels like they're rotten. On the
inside. They feel bad. As soon as you drink it, you're like, yeah, this is not good for me. But the Reigns were really good, and they didn't really affect me any, but they gave me that boost of energy in the morning. So, I think our generation, too, is there's no more coffee drinkers as much as there's a lot of, energy drink. You just grab the can, I mean, they even make coffee in cans now, too. Starbucks has,
the glass bottles.
Yeah, where you have the glass bottles, but then you have cans, too.
Do they?
They have double shots and, triple shots.
Oh,
they have,
I know
the little espressos, too.
Espresso things?
Yeah, but they have normal size ones, too, just like the... regular
That's
can size.
Espresso.
Well, they're double shots, so it's just like French vanilla. There's mocha. There's different flavors. I haven't tried any of them, but a lot of people go to those instead of doing the hot coffee now. Just our generation's not a hot coffee drinking generation.
I still drink hot coffee.
I do if I'm freezing. So when we were camping and stuff, that was the best time to drink coffee. You're chilled to the bone.
We got to do that again sometime before the weather gets too cold.
No, we need to do it when it's cold so we can experience it on camera for this is what we were talking about.
This is the misery.
Yeah.
We're doing this for you.
They'll know right away when we're sitting around the campfire cooking the coffee, just this is it. This is the moment you realize I need that coffee.
Dude, that was crazy. When we used to camp all the time. Now that I think about it, we
would camp even if we didn't play ourselves. A lot of times, a lot of the guys that would come out there, they were there for the camping experience, and then there was other guys that were like, I'm here for the airsoft experience. So you had half the guys wanting to shoot each other, and half the guys were like, let's make sausage. It's like there was
let's just kind of
hang out,
do outside stuff, and hang. And that honestly, man, we had a good time as kids, young kids. Adults, I guess.
But we didn't do it as often as a lot of people. Man, I haven't been camping since then. I'm just not a camper. Obviously, with the back problems, you're probably the same way. I like my bed, so camping's great and all, but I don't sleep much. So the next day, I'm pretty much ready to go home, hit the bed, a real bed.
Well, that's what I think it is. Is it's nice to go hike, and then kind of set up your little camp and hang out all night and then kind of get a little bit of sleep and then leave in the morning and go back home. Yeah,
so what we would do though is we'd do that and then turn around and try to play airsoft for 6 to 8 hours, and by the end of it, most
everybody's
of us
gassed,
I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
I think
it would be 2 in the afternoon. We wouldn't even play all day,
Yeah.
On those days.
And then that one morning we played in the blistering cold, we didn't even stay the night then. We would have died. If we tried to spend the night that night, it was 10 degrees.
But I think that was the plan, is it was all right, everybody's going to come over to my house tomorrow and we'll all walk out there. Dude, I wish I still had these pictures, and I probably do somewhere. I think they're on my Instagram archive or something. But
oh, yeah. Yeah, there's some still on the Instagrams and stuff.
Yeah, of just how... it was covered. We normally don't get a whole lot of snow here in Kentucky, but... Dude, the snow was covering the ground, and it was probably 3 or 4 inches deep.
We didn't know if we were going to make it. We had to dig ourselves out of the driveway before we even come and played. So my grandparents were like, "No, we're not going." I was like, "Well, we'll clear the driveway, and the roads are looking all right." Well, I mean, it's all the roads, so for the most part, the roads are in good shape.
Yeah.
You stay on the main roads.
You live on the highway already, so.
So we got out there and shoveled snow to get out of the driveway so we could come. So not only did we come play airsoft in it, we'd already been in it for an hour and a half trying to get the snow cleared out of the driveway, you know?
And do you remember it was so cold, like some of the guns weren't even working?
No, any CO2 guns, I think it was, or gas powered, one of the two. I don't remember which one it is that they don't work correctly.
Well, and the electric guns were even having trouble
the
because
batteries.
of just how cold, you know?
It was terrible. So we ended up, we didn't really play.
Yeah, we didn't play for the first couple hours until like the snow melted.
Yeah, we just sat around the fire. We started a fire and we ate the snacks and everything, which again we weren't worth much in actually playing because everybody was just having a good time talking, hanging out. So yeah, I've been really contemplating on my hobbies and my time now that I've got some actual decent money in my bank account from Pepsi.
Yeah.
It is that Pepsi money. I call it Pepsi money.
Well, it's the same. We do the same thing with UPS.
They take care of you, man. And it gives you enough money to pay for everything you have to pay for. But then you have that extra cash, and it's enough to, like, I've thought about getting a vehicle that I could pull something with and just get me a Razor or some kind of, like, ATV and just go to these places. This place... Kentucky is known for a lot of their off-road trails
and outdoor stuff in general.
Yeah, and where we were at yesterday had like 500 people supposedly meeting to do like a mud run or something with all these ATVs and off-roaders, and I'd see the trucks driving by and they have all their gear, and it looks fun. I think it would be awesome for like a day off, just load up, go somewhere and just ride for a day, and then you could do that camping experience like midday or something. Put that stuff in your truck. I don't know. It just it looks a lot of fun, and instead of just sitting at the house playing a video game or something, that's what I've been kind of thinking about. Like just, and I would also bring the cameras along too, like to capture those like GoPros on the Razor or whatever I end up getting, but also like filming the camping aspect of it, and just for memories, And even if nobody watched it, if I would just have it for us, if it was me and Gabby or you and I or anybody, if we just hung out.
Well, the older I get, it just seems like we're appreciating life.
I value the time
more and more. It's like when you're kids, you don't really care about anything. You're just like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. But then when you're sitting back and you're like, well, one day I am going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or one day I'm not going to have the memory that I did, or I'm not going to be able to do the things that I can now.
I think a lot of it for me is also getting away from the world the way it is now. If I just load up my truck, load up my ATV or my Razor, whatever I decide to get, and I go out there in those woods and I'm just riding all day, it just takes me away from the world and everything that's bad in it right now. So I just think it would be kind of a stress reliever for me personally, just to kind of like clear my head. Whereas, now when I'm doing the filming and I watch a lot of YouTube because I see what's going on YouTube and I see who's playing what games are coming out to stream or to, or what cards are coming out for Pokemon. I'm like keeping up with everything. So those hobbies are great, but you do see all the ugly. You see you're keeping up to date with all the times, everything that is going on. Whereas if I just loaded up and left, I don't keep up with anything other than where I'm at. So yeah, seeing all those trucks yesterday with all the ATVs and 4-wheelers and the Razors, I was like, man, that's what I want to do. And I drive a Charger, so it's like, if I decided, it's like I'm going to have to really devote myself to get a truck and then a trailer and then like look into what kind of Razor I would want. I'm leaning towards Razor just so that me and Gabby could hang out as well, as like a pastime, which we don't have days off together yet, but
hopefully,
one day
come around.
Well, Pepsi's seniority, so the longer I'm there, the better. So I'm hoping, even if it's 5-10 years down the road, if it even takes that long, at least have a Saturday or Sunday off, which she's off on the weekends as a bank job, So that's what we're looking for. At least one day to where we have overlapping.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're going to jump into an operational pause real fast and hit that weird fact of the week.
Yes.
Before we forget.
Before you forget.
Yeah. My old man brain. So, the weird fact of the week this week, the human nose can remember around 50,000 cents.
The human... How would the nose know? Wouldn't it be the brain?
Well, yeah. All right, but the nose can
senses.
recognize. Yeah, it can sense
Gotcha.
that scent. You know what I mean? But yeah, so around 50,000 is what our nose can register and our brain can remember.
That's crazy. I don't even know if I know. I mean, I guess I'd have to think about 50,000 cents.
So, well, and it's like
all I can smell right now is birthday cake.
Yeah, that is a strong smelling bang right there.
Yeah. You got the black cherry vanilla one.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good. I mean it's a little sweeter than a cherry vanilla Coke, but it's still good. I mean this is the first bang I've ever had. I know we were planning on doing a taste test at some point of all of them, but.
And I think it still would be awesome to taste test them all side by side because there's a ton of flavors. Like as I'm stocking, it's like I'll find a new case. I'm like, what is this one? I haven't seen this one yet. So
I'm sure they're releasing new flavors just about every day too. Or
yeah,
testing them at least.
Yeah, at least trying them out. They've got a lot of flavors there. I think it would be cool if you just took like a little shot glass of each one, and like your first initial reaction is what you went off of. Like, would you take another sip right away? Mm-hmm. And that would be like the ratings, best to worst.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's trying to think of all the scents now. Like,
yeah. Well, there's like, all right. So when I took psychology in high school, they told us like smells are connected to the hippocampus, which is the memory center of the brain. Which I guess mine is just messed up or something, because I don't remember anything these days. But
there's a cord disconnected somewhere in there.
Somewhere, but so. When you smell something, it reminds you of a memory, so, like I'll be sitting there one time and I'll smell something, it's like, oh, that, smells like the time I was doing this, or, like there's like a certain perfume that old ladies wear, and it'll remind me of my great-grandmother.
I think a lot of people remember, you probably will, at Richardsville Elementary, the old Richardsville Elementary, they had honeysuckles along the basketball court. And every time I smell honeysuckles, that's what I think of, is getting honeysuckles from behind the wall there. You had to jump down and climb around or whatever, and we'd get in trouble for going down there or whatever. But yeah, it's anytime I smell honeysuckles, that is the memory I remember. So like, I don't have a lot of scents that remind me of a certain moment, but that one is like dead on. Every time I smell honeysuckles, that's what I remember.
So I've never been into the new Richardsville, right? But I think the old one was probably one of the coolest setup schools like ever. Like I don't know why, but it had
a lot of room.
Yeah.
Like on the playground and stuff, there was 2 playgrounds. There's 2 courts. There was the one by the community center, which had a playground too. So and you had a huge basketball court too.
Yeah, I mean enormous.
Yeah.
And then, they built that awning in the back, while we were
I remember that too. Yeah.
And then.
Which I guess they got rid of that too, didn't they?
I guess.
I haven't been back through there. Like, I've been in the front of the building to. I was with my grandmother to pick up Hunter that one year. Yeah. I rode with her and we went in because I was like, well, I just want to see what it looks like inside, because like they had all this talk about it because it was like solar powered.
Yeah.
And it's like the first one or something. It's like it was a big deal when they built it, but all of us were like, man, the old one was cooler.
Well,
it's better.
Was. Like, all right, so of course I moved schools while we were still going there.
Yeah.
But when I went to Rich Pond, it was like, all right, well, the gym inside just has like bleachers that like kind of move out like this and then come back in. But Richardsville had no crap like bleachers built into the gym. Like they were concrete bleachers, and then they had wood, benches.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and then
it couldn't have been worse to fall on. I don't know if you ever fell on it throughout the years. Like I did a couple times. I thought I was going to break a leg. And then the blacktop on the basketball court was awful. It was almost like gravel. It wasn't even blacktop, like sealed.
Well, they hadn't.
It was rutted
it since it was built. You know?
So when you fell out there, you were going to the nurse because you
you
burnt
cut
up.
open.
There was blood for sure.
But at Richardsville we did the Kentucky State song and we did the national anthem every morning and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yep.
Well, when I moved to Richardsville, all we did was the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem.
Rich Pond, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant. But we didn't do it in the gym. We did it in our classrooms.
See, at Moss, that's how they did it too. I don't know if it's like a location thing or like, maybe Richardsville was kind of like out of touch. It's just, the area, it's more.
Well, you could fit the whole school in that gym, in the bleachers, There was no like, all right, some people have to sit on the floor or whatever. No,
Yeah.
the whole school could fit in that gym in the bleachers.
Yeah, because that's where the ceremonies were at and everything. You had all the
Mm-hmm.
parents and stuff coming. You had grandparents, parents, friends, family. Like, it was all...
Yeah.
And then you had the kids in the... Like, on the gym floor. So to fit the entire school on the gym floor, it just kind of puts you... Like, you're talking from preschool all the way to 6th grade worth of... Because at Richardville, a lot of people, they go to... 7th and 8th grade is also part of, you know, like the... No, it's 6th, 7th, and 8th, ain't it?
Yeah, 6th, 7th, and 8th is usually part of their middle school.
Yeah.
But for us, it was, 6th and all the way up to 6th grade.
That's a big deal, too, going from 6th to 7th.
Yeah.
It's like a new building. Like, man,
You get so nervous. You're
Yeah.
like, why am I so nervous coming here? I guess
same
it's just
people,
'cause
but there was more people, too.
Mhm.
You went from one school to 4,
Yeah.
which essentially at Warren East, I don't know about.
I went to Drake's, because South Warren wasn't open yet, so I went to Drake's, and that was like,
So did y'all switch? I never asked you this, but did y'all switch like mid-year?
No. So
Or did y'all wait until a year
it was
ended?
It was open the summer after my 7th grade year.
Mhm.
So I switched from Drake's, so I went to Drake's Creek 7th grade, and then 8th grade I transferred to South Warren because I was in that district.
Mm-hmm.
But what was cool is like all the kids that were going to transfer to South Warren, well, they were getting, we got to pick like our school colors or vote on our school colors and our mascot and all that stuff. So that was pretty neat. They let the students get involved a lot in how that school is going to go. And South Warren, it was a great school.
Well, you have to almost, because you have to give the kids something to root for, and you're like, oh, we're the, you guys end up being Spartans or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you just are like, well, this is what you guys are, and I'm like, well, I didn't really, you didn't really include us, and here we are trying to have some kind of school spirit, but the school just started, so you guys were kind of the first installment of like, the first year we won every tournament, or we really tried, so you kind of had to instill it in the kids to like really root for their home team kind of thing. But, so I never had any of that. I was never into the school. Like, we did pep rallies and everything, and like, we're like, well, we got cheer on the football. We went to football games at Warren Central a couple times, and I enjoyed watching, but it wasn't like it was like the highlight of my high school years,
Which, if you would have played football, it might have been different.
Yeah, it would have. All the time, man. I think about what would happen if I went down that road instead of staying at home.
And I think, so I tried out for the basketball team in 7th grade, right? And I didn't make it. And I think that's kind of what set me on a different path, Because if I would have stayed, playing basketball and then, things like that and stuck with that, I might have turned out a little bit different, just because there's different types of people you grow up with and you become friends with because of your teammates and all that. But I don't know, it's pretty interesting, because I gave it a shot and I didn't make the cut in 7th grade, so I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll do something else, and then,
Yeah, I never gave it a shot. I was really stuck in my ways and happy with who I was at the time. I kind of was just kind of cruising through school. And after I got out of school, or as soon as I turned 18, I wanted to work. So as soon as I got a job, I knew that was kind of where I wanted to go. There was no interest in school whatsoever. I missed 55 days my senior year. I just did not want to go. I had no connections there. The friends that I hung out with the last couple of years, we kind of were all the same way. It'd be like 2 or 3 of us missing from the lunch table. They're like, they must have called out, must have skipped school today. There was no like surprise, like, oh, they didn't. One of my friends, Austin, he was always at school. If he wasn't at school, he was sick. He was he's a genius, and he's really smart, and he's really quiet. But anyway, he was always there, and then I would miss 4 out of the 5 days at work, and then I'd show up the one day, and he'd be like, "Oh, you decided to come to school today?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did. Thanks." Like, what I miss, and the classrooms would move around and stuff like that. After 18, I just didn't go. So like, they would move seats around, so I'd come in that one day throughout the week. So what I would do is I would come in, get my work from the last week, and then do it at home, and then come in the next week, turn that in, and then get the next, because I was staying up with it, and I was doing everything fine. That one day I was there, though, I would learn, like in math, I would learn the new algorithm or whatever she was trying to teach us. I'm like, okay, that's how we do it. Okay, cool. So each week I just took it home, and that was really week to week. Yeah. And it worked out for me. I ended up failing one class, which was English. The only reason I failed it is because we did book projects, and you can't do a book project if you're not there, So That was a majority of the grade. I actually paid a guy to do my book project. So I got straight C's on all of them except the last one. It was the end of the year. I have nothing against him, but I was paying him, and he was supposed to do the last book project, and he didn't. So it threw I got a 0 for the last one, and it threw my grade down to an F, like a 58 or whatever. So I had to go to summer school for 56. I had to go to summer school for 4 days. I finished it in 2. I read the book in 1. And I wrote the essay in the second day, and I didn't have to go the other 2 days. So it wasn't like I couldn't do it.
I just
wasn't there to get it. So yeah, I was working a lot of days. I would go to work, and they didn't ask. At my first job, I'd be like, "Oh, you can work today?" I'm like, "Yeah." You're like, "Oh, you have school?" No. Oh, okay. And there was no like, "Well, you need to go to school."
Yeah.
They
Nobody
needed
was
the help.
telling me.
Yeah. So I mean, you got a kid there ready to work. Save a lot. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they wouldn't ask questions.
I thought you worked somewhere before Save a Lot.
No, first job. But that was, as soon as I was out the door, I went full-time at the office instead of Save a Lot, and I got my full-time benefits, and then went back to Save a Lot, and ended up at Clark, and then ended up at Pepsi. Here we are, making that Pepsi money. You got the UPS money.
Yeah, I mean it.
Got that union money is what we got.
That's what it is, dude. They take care of you.
Yeah, they do. I have nothing bad to say about them. I'm super happy with the company. Even now, first week, everybody was like, well, he's just boasting about it because he doesn't know how it is yet.
You've been merchandising before. It's not like you're not familiar with it.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So I've been merchandising, and merchandising for Pepsi compared to Clark is 2 different worlds. Like, they just treat you differently. They send you help if you need help, or if you're going to be stuck at a store for a long time, they need you at the other store, they'll send somebody else there, and then you don't have to go there, you just help out somewhere else. And last week I was merchandising all week. I would merchandise my stores. I start at 5, and it's supposed to work 8 hours. I would finish in 6, and then at the worst 6 hours, and then after that I'd go and help a driver. I'd go and meet up with a driver somewhere, just because I'm going to work somewhere. I don't care. I want to get my hours, So a lot of guys, I don't know what they do for their time, but they don't, go and help drivers. After me. For the foreseeable future, if I get done merchandising, I'm going to call my boss and say, hey, where do you need me? I'm done.
That's what happens with us, it's the same thing. It's like, all right, if you didn't get your 8 hours, it's like, all right, well, hey, this driver's still out there. Go take a couple packages off of him and go deliver them,
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome, and if you can...
It's a team effort. If you have that team effort and you help each other, I think the mentality and your structure of workplace will just go much further. So
and
it shows that you care about them getting home to their family as much as them getting, like, hey, so-and-so helped me out. Yeah, I'll go help him out. Where's he at? You scratch my back, I scratch yours.
And I can tell you this, honestly, working at UPS, I felt like I'm more part of a family than I did when I was in the military.
Pepsi's the same way. I mean, our orientation, we sat there and talked to the bosses. They ordered pizza for us for lunch. We laughed, talked, joked around, like, dogged the other companies a little bit. Like, you just kind of, you're all a team there, and they really they run it home as far as, like, this is, we work together.
Yeah.
And you didn't get that at the other places I've been. It's just more like a job. Here, I feel like it's a career. Like, it's the first one I felt like I could see myself being here for a long time. And I said that about the other ones, but a part of me, I think, was just trying to kid myself. I'm very prideful of my job. And this one, I don't have to be. Like, I don't have to lie about what we do. It's like, oh, yeah, I got done here. I'm going to go here. And you're like, oh, you just help everybody out. Like, yeah, get paid either way,
Yeah.
So.
I'm here. I'm getting paid to work, so I'm going to go work.
Yeah, I'm not going to be one of those guys that, we have some guys that they get done, they just sit in the car, they wait, they kind of kill time. They sit and talk in the stores to people they know. That's not me. When I go to my stores, especially now with the mask thing, I don't want to talk, especially now. So I'm pull pallets, work the store, leave. I don't hang around. I am in and out and done.
Yeah, you got a job to do, you're going to do it.
Yeah, and I'm not there to chit-chat, But we're definitely pushed on time. So
honestly, I feel like we could keep talking, but...
We could. I think it's because we haven't caught up much this week either.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've been super busy.
Yeah. I mean, you got Ghost...
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. And then I've been... The new Call of Duty season come out. And, like, neither one of us has really got to play any. So, I mean, we just haven't had much time to talk on Xbox or anything like that. And then and meet up to talk about podcast stuff. So...
It just seems like our lives are paralleling right now.
Yeah.
We're both super busy and...
Which I knew you would be busy once you hit that 8 hour day or the whatever, how many hours you have to work at UPS now. Like, once you get in that, you're 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week, whatever, there's not much time after. It's, you've got to take care of yourself after you get off, your significant other, and then like your families, if they have get-togethers, stuff. So like during the holidays, it's just like work off these days where you're going to go these 3 places.
So you're not really even off.
Yeah, well, I mean, today's my day off, and
I'm doing this, and then you're going to go get that.
Yeah, I'm getting a new washer and dryer, or hand-me-down washer and dryer from my mom when she moved to Florida, so I'm getting her washer and dryer, which is nicer than mine. I've always been a hand-me-down guy, so yeah, I mean, they work. Man. They're really nice, so I'm getting those, and I'm getting a deep freezer, and like that, I've got to move it. Nobody's going to move it for me, Mm-hmm. So we're going to go out there and move that stuff. My brother's got to get some stuff from her house, too, so... and Hunter and I really don't have that many people to count on to move stuff. I've got you, but your back's tweaked or whatever, so I don't want to, like, well, William's going to come move it for me, like we know who's going to be moving it,
It's like, I'll get down there and I'll help you, but, like, if you move the wrong way and I go with you, it's like, oh, no.
Well, last week he failed trying to do the podcast. He slipped out the door about rolled your ankle.
I was leaving and almost fell down the stairs.
I was like, man, just go before you do. Because before that, when we got rid of the old stuff here at the house, when you were moving out, we walked it down there to the burn pile, and you hurt your back then. So I was like, I'm scared to ask William, because every time he comes out to help me, it's like something's tweaked.
Yesterday, it's not like I was lifting anything too heavy, but by the end of the day, my back was sore, and I was like, why am I hurting right now?
It's probably riding in that truck, too.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is like sitting down, too. It doesn't help.
I feel worse on the days I help the drivers. I feel worse when we're driving a lot and not in the stores more. When it's like longer drives to each store, I feel worse those days than I do if I was just working nonstop. Because working nonstop, I'm moving. When I sit in the car after working a store, I'm like tired by the time I get to the next one. So I think sitting in the car is really rough. I don't know how the truck drivers do it, like on a long period of time. Like drivers that don't work their product, that just
drop off the load and then carry on.
I feel rough. I just feel like I would be so tired.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how these drivers get it. The UPS drivers, it's good. You get out and you walk. You walk more than you drive. I promise you that.
Yeah.
I walked 7 miles, and I didn't even do a lot of walking compared to the guy that was driving and actually doing most of the work. Showing me the ropes. He walked 10.
Yeah.
So if that shows you like.
You get 10 miles and you see a UPS driver, you wouldn't think that guy's walked 10 miles. But, I mean, it's a lot of back and forth.
And there's guys who walk more than that, it just depends on how many how many stops you have, and then, I mean, because if we go to like a neighborhood where there's a lot of like stops in one area, we'll probably just park the car in one spot, grab the dolly, and walk each of them to location.
That makes more sense.
And that adds up.
Yeah.
So, no, it's a good job though. I like it. I'm interested to see if I can learn it, which I'm still skeptical at this point because it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much.
Which you're just worried because you want to make sure you're like I am as far as you want to make sure you do a good job. You want to make sure you're doing your best.
I'm doing the best job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You want to let them know that you're there to work and learn and improve yourself. So I was the same way at Pepsi. So I started slinging the drinks and stuff and. I'm like, oh, he's doing great. They don't call and check on me. They don't ask where I'm at. I call them and let them know when I'm done where I can go. Yeah. And if I don't call them, I don't hear from them. They're like, hey, are you done yet? Then that means that I probably should have already called them, but I probably already doing something else. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, once you get done there, go here. So it's not like they're just making sure if I can help. If not, the other day, Thursday. I had to go help my boss. He was like, it's like 3 o'clock. I'm already at my 8 hours, ready to go home. And he's like, well, can you meet me at the Speedway here in Bowling Green? It's like, yeah, sure. He gets there. We work the one pallet. He's like, yeah, I'm heading to Glasgow. You don't have to go to Glasgow, though. And I was like, well, I mean, I don't mind to go to Glasgow if you need the help. I'm thinking 10-hour shift. It's 2 hours overtime. And plus the mileage of driving from Bowling Green to Glasgow. So I was like, in it for the money, but also... He didn't have nobody else going with him.
Yeah, there's nobody there to help him.
So I'm not going to let my boss drive to Glasgow with a semi, unload 3 stops, work the stops, and then come back to Bowling Green by himself. It's going to be like 7 o'clock at night. I'm not. So, I mean, we drove up there. We had issues with one of the stores as far as checking in. And it's just unavoidable. But then the other 3, we worked and got them done. And we got done at, I want to say 6 o'clock. I got, clocked out about about 6 o'clock. So, but if it hadn't been, he'd been there by himself. We had one pallet turn over in the truck, so you got to like pick it back up and stack it back up. It's not like anything was damaged, thankfully. It was all 6-packs, but you just have to restack them and rewrap them. I mean, when you're in a semi with most of the truck empty, I mean, it's bound to happen. Especially the pallet they had was really tall in the back, so as soon as you hit a turn wrong, it just turns left or right, depending on where it's at in the truck. But yeah, it's I wasn't gonna let him go by himself. I was like, no, I'll go with you, because that team effort. Like, if I was just like, okay, yeah, see you, I'm gonna go home and relax, and you're gonna drive to Glasgow and work 3 stores, it just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And I would feel bad. So, which was funny. I remember this, and I'm sure he does too. But we're driving back from Glasgow, and this biker is driving by us, and of course he's in the semi with the Mountain Dew logo on the side, the semi and the truck. The guy has a Mountain Dew Zero in his cup holder, and as he drives by my boss in the semi, the guy pulls up the Mountain Dew bottle, and he's like waving around, and he puts it back, and he just drives by, and he's like he was so like proud to be drinking Mountain Dew. It's so cool. I'm sure it tickled my boss to death. I was following him, so I didn't get to see his reaction, but I'm sure it was funny to him to see it. Which they might get that a lot. I don't know. I mean, you get a lot of people that are like diehard Coke fans or Pepsi fans or Mountain Dew fans. But it was neat. Just like, it wasn't much, but it was cool to just see some guys like, hey, I drink Mountain Dew, you know. So, at least you know you're delivering it to somebody, you know.
Before we run out of time, I'll give you a story kind of similar to that. So yesterday, we were walking into Myers because we had to do a pickup from them, and we're walking through there, and there's this Amish family that's checking out, and as we're coming back, one of the little boys, he's probably 5 years old, but he's tugging on his mom's dress, and he's like, look, you know, and it's me and my driver here, and we're just walking in our uniform, and he's like, look, it's the UPS man, you know. So I just thought that was cute. It's like, you know. Yeah.
I mean, they pay attention. They know. I mean,
a lot of and what my driver's telling me is a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of people that don't care about us, that they'll, you know, flip us the bird if they see us in traffic or something, you know, just because, you know, we'll honk our horn if, you know, we don't think that they see us or something, you know, and it's not us being rude. It's just, hey, we're right here. Don't hit us, you know. Yeah. But then there's other people. He's saying, like, you know, you go up to a business and you're delivering a package and they see you every day and they're like, hey, you know, we made you cookies here, you know, especially around Christmas time.
I have one of my mom's friends. She drives for UP or United States Postal Service. Yeah. She always posts pictures, like some of her like regular customers. They'll leave like snacks beside the mailbox, or they'll like say like UPS, FedEx, and Postal Service, just take one or whatever, and they'll leave water out for them and stuff like that. So it's pretty neat. So you do have people that realize what you do and appreciate the work that you do. I mean, if you didn't have people deliver packages, I don't think people realize how much effort goes into it. Like they just think it's supposed to happen. Like it's a given. But I mean, there's people that
don't take their time when they're doing jobs like that, whether it's driving a semi truck or you know, delivering packages or the mail or whatever, you know.
Or even a lot of trash guys and stuff. People will get mad when they're going behind a trash truck. I'm like, they're just doing their job. Like, how do you think your trash gets somewhere else? Like, those guys are doing their job to benefit you. And you know, they don't want to be picking up trash, but it's their job, you know. And I've never been one of those people that felt like I was above somebody else, and I think that's a lot of it. Is they just like, well, this dude's in my way.
Yeah, this stupid delivery guy. Is, you know, it's like, whoa, all right, you know. Yeah. I'd say you work in the logistics business, delivering, you know, the Pepsi products, you know, to the stores, but it's literally getting things that need to be had where they need to be and when they need to be there.
Like you said,
there's no time to...
Medicine and stuff like that, people just think it's, they're just delivering stuff people bought on Amazon, but there's other packages and other... I mean, you got to deliver to businesses and everything else. It's not like you're just delivering Pokemon cards to me. You know, it's like some things can wait, but there's a lot of things that are being delivered that need to be there.
I mean, stuff like electrical components that go into vehicles or like to factories or things like that, things that need to, you know, go places.
Yeah.
You know? So, but enough of us rambling. You know, we've hit
catching up
that hour mark. So
unedited though, we did talk a little bit while I was filming, so it's probably under an hour. But we're pushing it.
Yeah.
But it's good to catch up and
definitely we'll probably catch up more after this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We'll put you guys at ease until next time.
We'll shut up for you guys at least.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys again next week. or we'll talk to each other and you guys can listen or
Yeah.
whatever.
You guys can talk to us too. We just won't be able to hear it.
Yeah. All right.
Unless you leave a comment. Leave a comment.
Yeah. We love to see your comments. We try to reply to them. He can see them on YouTube quicker than I can just because he's on there more. But
yeah.
If you guys...
But I let him know. If there's a comment specifically for him from YouTube, I'll let him know, like, hey, you need to check YouTube. There's a guy asking about something you talked about, and then he'll reach out to him. So there's been a couple times there that we've done that. So
yeah, definitely. We like to hear from you guys. If there's something you want us to talk about in specific, send us a message or leave a comment, and we'll see if we can't get that in there for you.
Yep.
If you like this Weird Fact of the Week thing that we're doing, let us know. If you don't, let us know.
Yeah,
we're just trying things out, and
I think it's a good way to spark some topics, or just like spark a conversation. Midway through, kind of like brightens the podcast again in case we're rambling or something. We kind of look for a mark, be like, hey, let's do the weird fact, and it kind of shifts the podcast a little bit. So.
Yeah, but all right, that's all the time we got for today.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you guys again next week.
See ya.